Welcome, guys. I'm now joined by a very sensational young woman, and her name is the one and only Miss Yolanda Adams. And let me tell you guys, she's great, and I absolutely love her music. I love what she does, and she's just such a great person and such a great inspiration. You guys help me welcome Miss Yolanda Adams. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, I'm very happy to have you on the show. I remember when your people had sent my people the email about the Black Church and the new series and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, we definitely got to get her on the show to talk about it.
Yeah, it was a man. I'm still in awe because the whole series it's phenomenal. You know, it tells the story of the origins of the Black Church and where we are today. It's refreshing. I'll just say that.
Okay, nice. And that actually kind of brings me into our conversation. I want you to tell us about your experience, and then we'll actually go in more in depth into like the details of it and stuff and what people are gonna see. But tell us a little bit about your experience with filming.
Well, I am a super fan of Dr. Gates. He is, to me, one of the most phenomenal people and hilarious, okay? Very hilarious. When he told me he was doing this and he wanted to bring light to something that was so essential in the lives of African Americans and Black folks all over the United States. And he wanted to bring, a not a glamour, but bring respect to what we know as the Black Church. And for me, filming with him was so much fun. I got a chance to spend the afternoon with him. We laughed, we joked, we talked, shed a couple of tears, but I think it was well worth it.
That's amazing. It seems like you guys had a really fun time filming it and everything, and it comes on PBS and stuff. So talk about when you guys were filming it and stuff like that. What was, I guess, well, tell everybody where did you guys film at, and I guess how did you guys film it during the times of COVID?
Well, here's the thing. I can only speak for my part because my part was done way before COVID.
Oh, okay.
We were not in essential lockdown because, as you can see, you and I are both at home right now doing our work. So we've had to, overcome some challenges and everything. So I was so glad that it was pre-COVID, because we got a chance to film it in DC. I was in DC for, I think it was the Kennedy Center Honors. And then Dr. Gates said, well, I'm there, so hey, let's just do it. I'm not that far. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And we just made an afternoon of it, snacks. And everybody knows I'm a fruit nut. I love fruit. And so we had fruit and tea and all of that good stuff. So it was really good.
That's okay. It seems like y'all was having a good time when y'all were filming. It's crazy. And I'm glad that you said that you filmed it before COVID, because that actually goes to show like the audience and stuff, how production works. And it's a long process. It can take a few years, a few months and stuff. So I'm actually glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you're in media, so you know that sometimes you get an idea and it takes about 2 or 3 years for it to actually see the light of day, and you can actually say, okay, we're finished with this project 3 years later. You look at films and stuff like that, oh God, Lord of the Rings. You know how long they've been doing those. So, for your video family, your podcast family, it does take a while, but it's so worth the wait.
Absolutely. And, I can't wait till we be able to see it on PBS and stuff. Now, tell us, of course, the audience and I want to know, for the people who don't know, What is the Black church?
The Black church is actually a as a documentary, it is a 4-hour series that covers the gamut of the foundation of the Black church and where we are right now. And the phrase, the church, the Black church, stands for the actual African American church, the African American experience as far as this country is concerned. Because, we don't just say the church, and back in the day, they didn't just say the church, it was specific, the Black church, we call it church, we call it having church, we call it going to church. It's, all of those phrases mean the same thing. It's the impact that this organization we call, an entity we call the church, has had on our lives as African Americans.
Got it. Wow. And I'm glad that you said that, because one of the things I guess people may not know or realize is we actually worship, when we go to church, we actually worship and do things a little bit differently than I guess the quote unquote common way you're supposed to have church, hearsay or whatever. But me, I've gone to Black churches and stuff. I'm at a Black church right now, and I love the way we do things.
Oh yeah, well, it's all a part of our history.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take us from a land of drums and artifacts and riches and not expect that to be a part of who we are. I mean, it's in our fabric. You can how you used to be at the dinner table, you and your family, and somebody will just boom, 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 do a beat, and everybody at the table is doing that. We're the only ones that pretty much do that, and it's because of the rhythm that we have innately.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to worship, and we always had the exuberance in worship. We always incorporated dance in our worship. We always incorporated movement in our worship. And it's the way that we have been able to cope with so many things. That's the way that our ancestors coped with disparities and, hardships and heartbreaks and trials and tribulations. Because remember, we didn't have therapists back then.
Mm-hmm.
We had to, God had to be the therapist. Jesus had to be the doctor and the nurse. So that is where we get all of these amazing, when I say amazing attributes, and I wouldn't want to be a part of any other church either, because I know for a fact, growing up in the Baptist church, some Pentecostals and folks say that we weren't really saved because we could go to the football games and we could play sports and all of that. But I thank God for my upbringing, because that upbringing has shaped exactly who I am right now.
Okay, nice. And let me tell you, kind of taking you back to what you said, cause when I'm in church, I like a good beat, a little tambourine mixed up in there, get it going and stuff. Everybody up, shouting and stuff, feeling the Holy Ghost and all that stuff. It's a really great feeling to be in the house of the Lord, and everybody worships in their own different way and stuff. Now, before we go, I wanted to ask you, so we're in the pandemic right now. Have you done in-person church, or are you doing it virtually? How are you doing your praise and worship and going to church and listening to the word during the pandemic?
Well, during the pandemic, I'm one of the ministers at my church. We closed down, locked down, because we have elders in our church who would not have been able to come. And, my pastor also has a deep care for the congregation. So he's like, nah, we can do it virtually right now until we have the go-ahead to safely incorporate back into our norm. But the good thing about it is that Virtually, we meet every week, every Sunday, every Wednesday. There's rehearsal, choir, stuff like that. So we're still meeting. So we still get that sense of community. The only thing is here in Houston, we have really bad numbers, high numbers, I should say. And we're trying to make sure that even if we get together, the folks who are susceptible to injuries, susceptible to viruses, susceptible to sickness, that they're okay being around people. So we're very cognizant that this thing is not going anywhere soon, and we're trying to adapt. I think we all have had to adapt, but adapt in such a way that we are thinking about others before we think about ourselves.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And the reason I asked you that question is because I wanted people to look at you as an example, because there are some people out there who haven't been to church since March of last year, and I think it's yeah, and I think it's so important that people continue to go to church virtually and get the word in different ways besides in person. And we have the technology and we need to use it to our advantage. Thank God for this technology that we have.
Exactly. And I'm hoping that people would follow folks like Bishop Jakes and my pastor, Dr. Ed Montgomery, on all social platforms, simply because you can get a word from them every single day. You don't have to wait until Sunday. You don't have to wait until Wednesday. You can look them up. They are available. And don't be afraid to get your inspiration the way you need to get your inspiration. There's so many YouTube videos that have praise and worship music. You can worship in your house. You can worship with friends on FaceTime or something like that. Don't feel that you're the only person going through this. We all are going through this as a nation. We're going through this as a world, and we're going to have to get to the point where this time is temporary. Just realize that this is only a small portion of our lifetime that we'll have to deal with. When you do the right thing, it won't be prolonged. I personally, and this is just me personally, I personally believe if we had listened to the experts and scientists and folks who said if we lock down April and May, by the time December comes, we'll have we'll have a handle on it. Well, some people started equating it to slavery and things like that, which is so absurd because I won't even go into that part.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that. I am a person who loves music. I love knowledge. I love all of that. But I am not a scientist. And because I am not a scientist, I must listen to the experts. And when the experts tell us, hey, you cannot do this, and that in order to have your life back, you got to do a few things. And thank God, because I adhere to those protocols. I adhere to their advice, and nobody in my house, not one person in my house has had COVID. I've been flown to do several things, of course, like the inauguration and stuff like that. And mind you, we get tested every single day, sometimes twice a day, to make sure that we're okay. And so, I would rather that we err on the side of caution and do what's best for the world, because I want my daughter, who is, a junior in college, I want her to be able to say, hey, this was just a glitch in the system, but then, man, my life is so cool, in another couple of months.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with you on that one. And yeah, you gotta listen to the experts, people. I'm saying that to the audience. We gotta listen to the experts so we can at least feel some sort of normalcy sooner than later. So we can get back to our everyday lives and stuff. But I'm just so glad to see people navigating it and still doing what they do. You're doing what you're doing and doing a great job at it. I'm doing what I'm doing, and so everybody's out doing their thing, navigating it the best way they can. So that's all we can do until at this point and stuff. But I'm gonna let you go in just a few. But before I let you go, I have to ask you. You're one of my favorite artists out there and gospel singers. You're one of my favorite gospel singers. So actually, two questions. So one, what's your favorite song of yours? And two, and two, besides of course, besides yourself, who is another favorite gospel artist that you would like?
Oh my God. So, the truth is, when you're a writer like I am, all of your songs mean something at a particular time in your life. Just a Prayer Away is at the heart of me. I can't go anywhere without singing The Battle is the Lord's, Open My Heart, Someone Watching Over You, Be Blessed. All of these things that I had a chance to, write or co-write in. Those things are very, very important to me. So it's like your children. You can't pick your favorite. You just know you love all of them. And as far as favorite artists, oh my gosh, you don't have enough time because it runs the gamut. Brian Courtney Wilson, Kiera Shear, the Clark sisters, the Winans, Donald Lawrence, Fred Hammond, Shirley Caesar, Tremaine Hawkins, Donnie McClurkin, and if I don't say Kirk, he's gonna be mad.
Oh yeah, we all love Kirk.
And I love Tam. I love Pamela Mann. She is just a sweetheart. Tasha Page Lockhart, Tasha Cobb Leonard. There's so many people. Yama Crawley. So many people that I just adore. Tone. Oh my gosh. Robert Dean. Daryl Coley. I name it on and on because I breathe music. I love music, and music has been so good to me and my family. Music has kept my my spirits up in this time. It's made me laugh. It soothed me if I had to cry, but it gave me the strength to get up and stop crying and start laughing again. So I just love music.
That's great. And as an artist, you have to love music and you have to love what you do, because if you don't, then you can't be successful with it. But to be successful, you have to love it. You have to love the atmosphere. You have to eat, think, and breathe, sleep. You have to do it.
Yeah. And I think that's with anything. Anything you want to do successfully, you first of all, you need to know more about it than anybody around you. Mm-hmm. You need to know more about it because you may have to, get on a famous show and talk about it. and I think that we should always be learning something about our genre, something about ourselves every single day. I know myself better than anybody knows me. And I know that, as far as gospel music is concerned, I know those trenches that we've all been in and trying to make sure that we change the trajectory of what we're doing in such a positive way that it impacts the world. So I am really, really proud, first of all, of being an artist. And I'm very, very proud of my contributions to the docuseries, The Black Church, because it is, when I tell you, it is so elegant and then gritty at the time, but then so truthful. And it's time for us to see that side of the Black church because, in movies, sometimes you get the buffoonery of the, women throwing their hats up and, all of that stuff and, sashaying around and things. And you and I both know that most of the time the way they depict us in movies is totally different than the way we actually act in a service. So I'm just really, really glad that Dr. Gates did such a wonderful job in preserving the integrity of it while telling the truth at the same time. And then giving us a bar to reach when we finally can come back together.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Shout out to Dr. Gates for putting together such a great project, and I can't wait to watch it. I know you guys who are in it are ready to watch it. Y'all had a whole lot of my favorite people. You, Miss Oprah, Reverend Warnock, my girl Shirley Caesar, who be singing that thing. So yeah, it's gonna be a great 2-part series. I can't wait to watch. You all in the audience, hey, it comes on. It's going to be on the 16th to 17th on PBS. Make sure you guys tune in. Miss Yolanda, thank you so much for coming on the show and blessing us with your presence. Hey, you're one of the top guests. I got you on that top list up there.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I really being on your platform, and I just want to say, keep up the great work. Keep doing what you do. Keep loving what you do, and I'm telling you, the sky is totally not the limit. You can go way further than that.
I really do appreciate that, and like I said, once again, I thank you so much for coming on the show. And hopefully we'll see each other on the red carpet once everything is back and good again.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that now.
Okay, all right then. And when I see him, be like, hey, I'm that young man that interviewed you in the purple shirt, black blazer. Thank you.